Colorado, and if you're looking for the Buffaloes, they ain't hard to find. And while today is the final home game of the season for one team, it is more importantly a celebration, Senior Day, as we'll see the number 19 team in the country, the Appalachian State Mountaineers, taking on a squad hoping to prevent another L this week, the Colorado Buffaloes. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. And guys, can't wait to get this one started. The Mountaineers will kick it away to start. The returner will field it and try to get some field position. And the coverage team able to make the tackle. So Colorado's return team didn't help matters out much there. And this big fella can beat you in a number of different ways in the passing game, David.
Yeah, so much fun to have a guy that I can rely on, that can beat guys over the middle of the field, that can beat man-to-man coverage. This guy's the ultimate weapon.
And I love that this guy has...
He's loose. At the 30. The 10. Touchdown, Bucks! And once he got loose, it was all over.
What a way to start this game defensively. You find the matchup you like, you put it in his hands, and he does the rest. The defense looks like they were sleepwalking out there to start this game. One play, they go the distance to score a touchdown. This defense better wake up.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And the PAT makes it 7-0. If only it were always this easy for the offensive coordinators. One play, big chunk yardage, put points on the board just like that. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So Appalachian State's offense will go to work for the first time today. As we take a look at our impact players for this one, what are you looking for, Jesse, for a guy to make an impact?
Well, these are simply put the leaders of this football team, and generally games go how these guys play. If they make plays, then they've got a shot to win this one.
No doubt, they got to show up. These are the team leaders. These guys have to play well if they're going to win the football game.
We'll repeat the previous down, but this time the offense has 10 more yards it has to cover. Looking for a productive play on first down. Looking downfield, it's Diggs. Bought a little time, lets it go. Quickly out to the tight end. And that defense pushing him out of bounds after a short gain. And here comes the offense on second down. He's looking to throw. Fires to the big fella. Nice, solid form tackle from this sophomore. You make up the game plan and not a lot on the play sheet for this. 3rd and long from inside their own 20. From the gun, wants to pass. He'll loft one deep down the left side. A full dive to haul that one in.
Man, that's a tough play to make. When you're that far down the field and you're trying to control your body and run as you're laying out, that's a really great effort, really good concentration, and that is how you make your quarterback look really good.
And the Mountaineers have it with a 1st and 10. Use the play fake, now to throw. Got his man downfield. And they'll finally catch up to him, but not before a big chunk of yardage is picked up. The give to the back. And he finds some solid space, makes a nice gain before the defense is able to stop him. Operating in the red zone here on second down. Leaves it with the back. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is.
Holding, offense.
They say you could call holding on every play. Well, they did on that one. The give to the back. Defense there to stop him after he picked up a yard. Ball's at the 17. Third down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. Quarterback extends the play. Nifty little scamper on this one. Enough for the first down, and he slides in safely. Defense is backed up. Shadow of the goalpost trying to defend their own end zone. He steps and powers and works his way. They finally get him down at the 2. Defense rolling out the big bodies to try to stuff the run.
Neutrals on infraction. Defense.
So the offense accepts the penalty, and they'll get a little farther away from their own end zone. To the air, it's Diggs. They're bringing heat. And the pressure gets him back at the 8-yard line.
It's a big-time moment for the defense. They're creating a negative play, getting a sack with the opponent right down on the goal line. Now that they've backed him up a little bit, a touchdown doesn't seem like it's just a gimme.
Third and goal coming up here. From the gun, wants to pass. And he's got it! Touchdown, Mountaineers!
And I love finding the big fella down in the red zone. Third and goal. You got to make something happen down here. Throw it up high. Let the big fella make you look really good as a quarterback. Love finding those big guys down here in the red zone.
Lining up to add another. Smashes it through for the PAT. After that latest answer tied things up, just about set to kick it away again. On the move from inside his 5. And the returner will be knocked down. Colorado has the ball back, and the Buffaloes hoping to put their team in prime position on offense. After standing on the sideline and watching that long touchdown drive, they really need to put something together to give their defense a rest.
And that's a real thing, man. Like, you played a lot of plays, you get worn out. You need a chance to go decompress on the sideline, get some oxygen. Palmer, now it's on this offense.
Yeah, this is the definition of complementary football because it's a two-pronged problem. You've got to score points and answer.
And he can't escape, and down he goes. The defense coming up big there, and the sack is great, but the secondary deserves some credit too.
No doubt. When you can cover like that in the secondary and drop back in your zone and only rush a few, and you feel comfortable getting home, and they're going to get to the quarterback, that is a great feeling, and it's fun to be a defensive coordinator calling the plays.
He's going to pass on second down. That pass is incomplete, and they're probably fortunate that it wasn't knocked free for a fumble. On third and long, doesn't need to take the check down. And the throw out to the sideline, good for a few. And the Buffaloes will bring the punt team onto the field. The punter going to get his first work of the afternoon. He'll call for the fair catch here. Appalachian State regains possession, and the Mountaineer offense headed to the field. This could be a real turning point in the game. They scored a touchdown. They got to stop, and now a chance to break the tie.
Yeah, this offense has got it cooking, man. And how about the defense? Great job getting that stop, getting the football right back to the hot hand. Now this offense, Palmer, has a chance to take the lead.
You can see the offense, too. They understand the situation right now. They were jonesing on the sidelines to get another opportunity to run back on the field. They are ready to drive this ball and go score.
Amazing how many times an offensive holding penalty will stall a drive. We'll see if the offense can overcome it. Looking to throw, it's Diggs. Going to try to pop one on the screen. And he never had a chance. As soon as he caught it, the defense was right there. On third and long, a check down would be the last resort. Oh, and he gets downfield for the big catch. He's off to the races. And he strides his way into the end zone. Touchdown, App State. Quick strike touchdown comes out and jump-starts the offense.
And, man, we see this in college football, so much explosiveness and firepower, and we get high-scoring game after high-scoring game, and it looks like we're on pace for one of those right now.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Boys, if it's happening in college football, we've got eyes on it. Check this out. Washington is trailing right now, but it's only a couple of points. That quarterback just needs to show the pulls of a young Warren Moon, and they are right back in this. It's a touchdown game. They're trailing by 7 to Michigan State. For now, it's back to you fellas, but of course, if anything changes, we'll see it right here.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere.
Brings up second down.
They'll run the option. Knocked down after picking up 5 out to the 24. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Boy, could they use a conversion on 3rd and short from their own 24. Looking to throw for it. Got his man quickly. Now they'll really try to get this drive going. Good execution on 3rd down as they have it 1st and 10 at the 31. The run from the shotgun. Finds his way for 3 out to the 33. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line 2nd and 7. He's looking to throw. Gonna take a shot. And it's intercepted. A turnover for the defense. Trying to take it back. And they'll drag him down after a good return on the interception.
Man, what a great break on the football. Nice job seeing it, squeezing. A lot of those defensive guys, man, they don't have great hands all the time. But you always, always remember your first. Your first interception. They'll always remember this moment.
The Appalachian State offense returns to the field. David, they'd love to do what they did last time and put this one in the end zone.
You ain't lying. They did a great job. The offense was clicking. Everything went well, Palmer. They executed and got the touchdown.
And they really were in a nice rhythm as well. And I'd love to see that here on the next drive, too. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything seems to be working, and you seem to have this defense on their heels.
We have the early makings of a quarterback duel, as these stats will show you. Lots of time left, and we're ready to get back to it and open the second period. They'll give it to the back. And a good, solid pickup before the defense cuts him down. From the 36, a 3rd down, and you wonder if they're willing to take 2 plays to get the first. Feeling some heat. Trying to escape and get it himself. They make the stop, but there is a flag on the field. We'll see what that's all about. So the penalty will not be enforced. The defense declines and stands on the result of the play. The Mountaineers send out the punt unit. First punt of the day, and he'd love to lock them up close to their goal line. And the ball hits at the 3 and gets into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. The offense lining up for a 1st down play. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Not what they had in mind to start this drive. Here comes 2nd and 13. He's looking to throw. He's got his man. Makes the catch, and he's brought down. If they can convert here, that type of play can really give you a shot of momentum. Pre-snap motion, quarterback trying to get a read. Looking to the big tight end. A strike downfield. And he's brought down after a huge completion. And the Buffaloes racing to the line in the hurry-up.
Nice play design on that one. You make it easy for your quarterback, too, because it's easy to see what's happening right in front of you. Over the middle of the field, you can see where defenders are dropping. You can see where the soft spots are in zone coverage. And just a really nice job by the QB locating his guy and making it accurate.
Line getting set on 2nd down. The play action fake. He lobs one high down the left side. Intercepted. And he's brought down, and this defense gets the ball back for its own.
This is obviously not a great start for this quarterback here. 2 interceptions already in this game. He's got to do a much better job with his decision-making.
Appalachian State regains possession, and the Mountaineer offense headed to the field. The last time we saw this offense, we had to look quick. It was a 3-and-out, Jesse.
They just had no rhythm in that last drive. So someone's going to have to step up and make a play, David, and get this thing going.
Yeah, let's find some juice. Find your guy. Find those plays that you know you can run inside out, forward, backwards. Get some first downs. Get some positive momentum.
Holding penalties, the ultimate drive killer. We'll see if it costs this offense here. Quarterback on the keeper. Finds a crease at the 20. And he's brought down after a nice gain. They've got it 1st and 10 from the 25. He leaves it with the back. At the 35, he's open. And the tackle was made, but there has been a flag thrown.
Holding, offense.
That penalty moves the ball back 10 yards. We'll replay the down. After getting moved back, it's 1st and 20. Here's the handoff. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. And now on 2nd down for this offense. To the air, it's Diggs. Getting some heat. And here's a fumble way behind the line. Defense swarming on that loose ball. It'll be a turnover.
Those are hard for offensive linemen when they get beat. You're going, no, look out for your blind side. Watch out. But great job rushing the quarterback, getting him on the ground, and getting the football out. A little extra bonus. Nice job by the defense getting nasty.
A huge opportunity, guys, for this offense to take over after the fumble recovery and start 1st and goal. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Defense rolls up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. He's looking to throw. And he'll chuck that one away and save the down. Nobody was able to get open. They're going to throw it on 3rd and goal. Into the end zone. And it's caught. Touchdown, Buffaloes.
And it's so underrated. The relationship between a QB and a wide receiver, the timing, the ability to know where he's going to be and be accurate with the football, that's what leads to nice touchdowns, Jesse.
Well, and the chemistry between these two guys has to be great when you're throwing into the end zone because coverage is going to be tight. The throw might not be perfect, but this is something these two guys have been repping in practice over and over and over, and it's paying dividends now in game day.
And he tacks on the extra point. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they close the deal with the 7-yarder for the score. He'll start the return inside his 5. And the coverage team able to wrestle him down. The Appalachian State offense returns to the field. As it turns out, the fumble on that last drive set up the touchdown, David.
And there's no bigger stat in football than turnovers. You turn the football over, they turn it into points. Jesse, that is not a recipe for success.
Good news, though, they get another chance, right? They can make amends with this drive right here. That's all that's important. You've got to execute and you've got to lock in.
Finds his man down the middle. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the play. Let's see if it stands. Just an obvious holding call there, and one that just kills an offense's momentum. They'll run play action. Now he's going to glide away from pressure. He's going to be able to pick up a few yards before the slide. A 3rd and long coming up here. Looking for a man. It's Diggs. Makes the catch down the right side. Huge plays like that can change the complexion of a game, and he's got it at the 22-yard line.
Well, after that last play, you can see how electrifying this guy is and how special he is after he makes the catch. If I'm on offense, I'm trying to find a lot of ways to get him touches in this game.
That last big play has them in business just outside the red zone. It's 1st and 10. He'll ride his man on the option. Sweet cut there. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see which way that's going to go.
Hold it. Offense.
We'll repeat the previous down, but this time the offense has 10 more yards it has to cover. Snapped it in the shotgun. Just a short pass to the tight end. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. Still some work to do after that last completion at 2nd down. Now the toss. He's out of bounds after a really nice game, but there is a marker on the field.
Hold it. Offense.
They say you could call holding on every play. Well, they did on that one. It'll be a draw. And a nice solid pickup there before the defense wrestles him to the ground. It's 3rd down now. They ought to be able to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning. We'll take a quick break as we have reached the final 2 minutes of the first half. On 3rd and long, he'll need to loosen up that arm. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. And they'll send out the field goal unit. Looks as if this will be a 51-yard attempt. Thought he had it and couldn't get it through the uprights. He missed it. And after the missed field goal, guys, we are still locked up. Is coming back onto the field. Boy, David, they would love to stack another touchdown on top of that last drive. And the freshman able to get home with the sack.
A loss of 7 yards on the play. Brings up 2nd down.
Now the offense has to overcome the negative play after the defense comes up with a sack. On 2nd down, just keeps firing. He's got his man. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a 1st down. They're at their fastest tempo trying to get off this 3rd down play. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires to the tight end. Quick timeout by the defense there, trying to make sure everyone has the same call. The Buffaloes line up to punt it away. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. They'll get him corralled and down at about the 19-yard line. Offense set on 1st down. They'll go to the counter. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Fellas, yeoman's work so far today in Boulder, and welcome in to the halftime update. The passing game for both sides has been outstanding. On point, unrelenting. They've excelled in the short game, the intermediate game, and especially on the deep ball. All in all, a thrilling display of offensive firepower, and these defenses have a lot to discuss here at halftime. And with that, let's send it back to the guys more than a mile above sea level at Folsom Field.
And the Buffaloes will line up to kick off and start the second half. Bringing it out. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Appalachian State regains possession, and the Mountaineer offense headed to the field. Going to the run to start this second half. And the runner is down, and so is a flag.
Hold it, offense.
Amazing how many times an offensive holding penalty will stall a drive. We'll see if the offense can overcome it. Handoff to the lone back. Found a little space. He'll pick up 6 of the 14 as they have room to operate. Got a little work done on first down. Now back to the line. Looking downfield, it's Diggs. Makes the grab on the left. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down mark. They line up with some serious work to do if they want to convert this one. Lost one deep down the right side. It's complete. A huge pickup. Touchdown, App State. And with that one, they jump on top here in the second half. That's his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. The defense has no clue how to respond right now.
No, and the defense has had absolutely no answer. He's been on the money. He's been on fire, making the right decisions and just carving this defense up.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Week in and week out, guys, you never know what's going to happen in college football. Check this out. Washington is getting stomped right now. I mean, thrown around the field like a salmon at Pike's Fish Market. Just a brutal performance. They're trailing by 20 to Michigan State. Just another week of college football where we've come to expect the unexpected. Fellas,
thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. Holding penalties, the ultimate drive killer. We'll see if it costs this offense here. He's looking to throw. Fires to the right. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. And the tackle is made, but not before. That completion gets them 30-plus. And the Buffaloes want to move quickly.
Well, how about the offense setting that play up? We've seen earlier in the game a couple shorter throws, just trying to suck those safeties closer to the line of scrimmage.
Strong pass rush gets to the quarterback, and they get him at the 46.
And how about the defense getting home with the pass rush? Playing man coverage in the back end. You need to win up front. Those guys got to get to the quarterback, do a great job rushing the passer. I can play man when I got a pass rush like that.
Second down now after the sack. He's looking to throw. And the pressure is coming in, and they get him again.
And giving up 3 sacks a week ago. Now you've already given up 4 sacks. They got to find a way to protect their quarterback. Give him a little bit more time.
And whatever they did on first and second down, don't do that anymore. Third and very long coming up. Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. And this defense goes back-to-back sack, Jack.
And it's been a long day for this offense. If you can't protect your quarterback, it's hard to be successful. That's the 5th sack they have given up. The offensive coordinator has no answers, and this defense has been flying around.
The Buffaloes will line up to punt it away. He's going to try to flip the field with this one. You'd think they would have had a good chance to down that one deep, but the bounce carries it into the end zone for the touchback. Sticks it in his belly. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is.
Holding. Offense.
That penalty moves the ball back 10 yards. We'll replay the down. Offense getting set for first down. Use the play fake. Now to throw. Good job to toss that ball out of bounds and avoid the loss. They'll line up for a second down play. Back to pass. It's Diggs. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense. Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. Third and long, backed up inside their 20. Coming after it. He's going to run it. Across the 25, he's got room. And he scoots his way to the first down and then slides to avoid the hit.
This guy just gives you nightmares. I mean, he's just got so much electricity. He just pulls it down and chews up yards like it's nothing. That's a quarterback. A quarterback doing that to your defense.
He'll keep it himself. Gets it to the 46-yard line. First down for this offense. And the Mountaineers are on the move. They go to the ground. That's what you expect from a senior. Don't give them any extra yards. Great tackle there. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. He's looking to throw. He's got his man. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. They'll try to move the chains on the ground. And they did not let him get to that first down line. It'll bring up a call here. The Mountaineers will punt this one away. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. And the ball hits at the 3 and gets into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Colorado has the ball back, and the Buffaloes hoping to put their team in prime position on offense. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2. Inside 4 minutes to play here in the third. On the option. And he didn't get the pitch off, and he paid the price. Fairly manageable distance here on 3rd down from the 27. They'll try to run for it. Sweet feet on the move. Love to see these 3rd down conversions on offense, and they're out to their own 39-yard line. They've been running it, but now the pass. Snagged in the middle. It's Allen. Now they're starting to feel it. They've got a first down at the 44. They'll go to the ground. And he's knocked down, but there's also a flag that's been dropped. Let's check on the call.
Holding. Offense.
Just an obvious holding call there, and one that just kills an offense's momentum. Wide receiver coming across in motion. He'll set up to throw. Receiver looks it in. It's complete. Tackled almost immediately. They're well short of the first down. Off the play fake. He was able to squirt free and pick up a few and avoid a negative play there. This is a 3rd and long. He's looking downfield to throw. It's caught. And sure, tackling there to keep him from getting to the first down marker. And the Buffaloes will send out the punt unit. He's getting a lot of work. 4th time he's punted tonight. Make sure that there's not going to be a return on this one. Ball's out of bounds, and I think they'll mark it right around the 25. Give to the running back. Rumbles ahead for a pickup of 5 to the 29. This offense has a second down play. Guys, it's Appalachian State holding the lead at the end of the quarter. Let's take a quick look at the national rankings to see how this playoff race is shaping up. When you're dealing with a deficit like this, it's all about somebody stepping up to make a play, and you might as well start here in the fourth quarter. Dropping back, it's Diggs. Quickly complete. Brought down at the 45 after a 15-yard pickup. The offense getting set for a first down from the 45. He'll pull it on the read. They make the stop, but there is a flag on the field. We'll see what that's all about.
Hold it. Offense.
We'll repeat the previous down, but this time the offense has 10 more yards it has to cover. They'll leave it with him. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Kept it on the ground on first down. Let's see what they do on second.
Neutrals on defense.
Neutral zone infraction will push the ball up 5 yards. Much more manageable situation for this offense after the penalty at 2nd and 6. That play just never had a chance. They knock him down for a loss of 5. The D thinking bring some heat on 3rd and long from the 44th. Well, the quarterback can make a big play when he starts moving around. And they couldn't hold off the heat, and he goes down with a sack. Whew, that linebacker sacked that quarterback, and he was on him quicker than a hiccup.
Yeah, and you see quarterbacks back there pointing and telling the offensive line who to block, and, well, it didn't work, okay? He was not prepared for that. He comes scot-free, and the quarterback pays the consequences for that one.
And the Mountaineers will call on their punt team. Wants to bring it back. He'll be brought down, but there is a flag on the field. Let's see what that one's about.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Defense.
So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. So the offense keeps this drive alive thanks to the roughing the punter penalty. They're trying to get to it. The quarterback bought as much time as he could, but the defense got to him and sacked him.
And the defense gets him on the ground for the 4th time today, by the way. They've pressured him. He's still done an unbelievable job making completions. But you know what? Get him on the ground when he's got the ball. He can't make something happen. Keep hitting him. Keep getting him on the ground.
They've already peeled more than 3 minutes off the clock on this drive as they stand over the ball on 2nd down. He'll do it himself. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. 7th play of the drive coming up, and a long way to go on 3rd down. Pocket starts to collapse. That pass not close as he got twilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down. The Mountaineers will try to pin them back with the punt. And that one will bounce and roll out of bounds. Let's see exactly where they mark it. And the Colorado offense is coming back onto the field. And a decent gain there before the defense makes the stop. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. 6-yard pickup on 1st down leaves him with 2nd and 4. Motion from the offense. Quick touch pass to the receiver. He's really close to that 1st down marker, but they stop him just a bit short. You've got a 3rd and manageable, back up in your own end, but convert here and you get some momentum. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. And the Buffaloes decide to punt it away. They've been busy out there to punt for the 5th time today. He only needs a sliver of daylight. And the punt team able to smack him to the ground. Guys, this offense coming back out onto the field. Off the play fake on 1st down to throw. Finds his tight end. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a first down for this offense. Leaves it with the running back. Defense there to stop him after a gain of 3, but he is inside the 30 to the 29. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Got 3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7. Off play action. Pressure coming. Working that left side. Good job running that route to get past the sticks because he got nothing after the catch. Quarterback on the keeper. Headed to the end zone. And he'll take this into the end zone, but hang on just a second. Flag down. Let's see what this is about. Just a crushing mistake on the penalty. Wipes out the touchdown, and now they'll have to try to get it together and score again. Able to make the stop after a gain of 2 to the 22. Let's see what they've got on 2nd down. The handoff, keep working on that clock. They'll give him maybe 1 on the play. It's down to the 20. This is the type of play that could be a pivotal moment. Tight game, 3rd and long coming. They'll try it on the ground, running the counter. And he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. So on 4th down, here comes the field goal kicker in a huge spot. Splits the uprights, it's good. And that lead grows even bigger.
You know, it's funny, in an age where there's so many college football analytics and everybody wants to go for it on 4th down, at the end of the day, it still comes down to managing the game. Good decision by the head coach here in the 4th quarter. By kicking that field goal, you've now made it a 2-possession game. Your chances of winning this thing have now gone way up.
So after the last drive ended with a field goal, the kickoff team out there to send it away. And he takes this from inside the 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. Colorado has the ball back, and the Buffaloes hoping to put their team in prime position on offense. He finds a soft spot in the middle. Just what they were looking for to get this drive rolling. They're out to the 35.
They're going to sit back in zone. I'm going to make sure I know exactly what they're doing, find those holes, find those crossing patterns, and take advantage of that zone coverage.
He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there, still a bit short of the first down.
You just get the feeling this defense is going to make it hard on them, right? They've got the lead, it's late, and they're going to try to tackle everybody inbounds. Offense is going to have to really work for this, and be smart. You got to attack the sideline. You got to throw first down. You got to keep this thing moving vertically down the field.
We hit the 2-minute warning, and this offense is desperate to make something happen and do it in a hurry. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack. Down in the 4th quarter, it's too late for empty possessions. They'll go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. Incomplete on 4th down, and man, did they need to keep that drive alive. The lone back's got it. And he has a solid gain before the defense bottles him up. Quick timeout called by the defense, stopping the clock to save as much time as possible for their offense. The give to the tailback. And he's brought down, but a flag is also down.
Holding. Offense.
They say you could call holding on every play. Well, they did on that one. Looking for room. It's Terry. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a first down. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. They'll try the run. Offenses gain momentum with 3rd down conversions like that. They've got it at the 25. The defense burns their 3rd and final timeout of the half. And the quarterback takes the snap and kneels down. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I just never saw this team falling into a 3-game losing streak. They are wounded, reeling, and they've had their confidence shaken.
It's been ugly. There's no other way to spin it. This is very ungood, not good. Got to find some way to get this turned around. Got to make more plays. This is something that's frustrating, but let's not let it define your dynasty, right? Fix it, get it back together, try to pull some wins, try to figure this thing out.
It's frustrating too, David, because this is a team that has a lot of talent. I think part of the problem these last couple of games now has been lack of effort. So if you're on the coaching staff, maybe you're ready to start giving new guys an opportunity to see the field and just see what they can do.
That's going to do it for us from here. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.